Hello, welcome to the Real Estate Regroup Show. I am your host, LJ Walker, a real estate investor helping you realize your dream of owning a home or investing in one. Today's show is how I stopped living paycheck to paycheck. I've been seeing this topic circling around the internet, and since I have personal experience in this area, I figured I'd share my story with you. First and foremost, when I was in high school, I started looking for scholarships as a junior. I applied to the scholarships. I did not get every single one that I applied for, but the money that I did receive from the scholarships that I did get was enough for me to carry me through the 4 years. Okay. While I was in college, my major was management information systems. As a major in that area, you're required to take accounting and economics. So that gave me like a basic grasp of money management right there. The other thing that I would say also helped is my friends. They were ambitious people. They were not necessarily materialistic. Yes, we liked fashion. Yes, we liked fads. But me personally, I couldn't afford it. And my priority was to graduate out of college, to get a good job. This was at the time. Graduate out of college, get a good job, and then hopefully be able to afford all those things that I wanted, instead of trying to buy those things right now when I have, tuition. I still had to pay part of my tuition and also part of my books. Plus I had to pay transportation and I had to eat. So yeah, I would say the people that I hung around helped a lot. Next, I read financial books. Not a whole lot, just a few. One book that definitely stands out is Cheryl Barsad. Her book changed me mentally, how I saw money and my relationship to money. It was like The Black Woman's Guide to Financial Independence, I believe is the title. And she was saying that we as Black women need to stop thinking that we are banks. Well, actually, I would rewrite that book today, because being a bank is not bad. What we really were, what she probably would have been better for her to use, is we're not charity organizations. And the reason why I believe that advice is good is because a lot of times we care too much about what people think. Sometimes we can't say no to people. Plus, we always want to help people, but we overdo it and we end up not helping the person, but enabling them. And they keep coming back to us over and over and over again for money that if we had it to ourselves, a lot of times we would find that we have more money than we actually realize. But because we're always giving it, quote unquote, loaning it to people who don't have any intentions of paying us back, okay, that's one of the reasons why some of us stay stuck and some of us live paycheck to paycheck. The next thing that I did was I listened to the radio. Yes, I listened to music, but there were some financial shows on the radio. One was Susie Orman, who eventually later on went on to TV. And when she did that, I listened to her on TV as well. I read a lot of her books too. And her books also helped me out as well. Next, following the advice that I read in those books, I compared the banks that were around me. Remember, there was no internet 30 years ago. I can't believe I'm even saying that. But yes, there was no internet. I called up every single bank, asked them what their interest rate was and also what their fees were to hold my money. And then I made my choice. Okay. Next thing, about, I would say, well, maybe 3 months after getting a job, having my bank account and what have you, I came up with a budget. The budget helped me realize, okay, where I can cut costs. It helped me to save. Those books also taught me how to invest. However, I didn't start off, as a big investor. I basically, just purchased some CDs because that's what you do. That's what my mother taught me. And I thought I was really doing something. Then, taking the advice of Susie Orman and of Cheryl Prasad, I stepped up a little bit, and the bank that I had, they had their own financial advisor, and they also sold mutual funds to us. So I went ahead and I purchased those mutual funds from the bank. They were paying something like 5 to 8% back in those days. Even the CDs, back then you could get a CD 3 to 5% back, yeah, way back then. So that's what I did, and my money began to accumulate. Next thing that I did was learn to be a better, smarter shopper. My mother and my neighbor are probably ninja shoppers. They use coupons, they compare prices. My mom was the type of person where she doesn't go into the first store she sees a particular product. She goes to like several different stores. It can be 5 blocks apart. She's going to every single store, see how much it is, and then whichever store had the cheapest price, she go back to that one and buy it. So I copied her. Um, Later, though, I realized buying things at a discount or buying things cheap is not always best. Sometimes quality matters. Most of the time, quality matters. Because there was a time when I remember I bought these shoes. They were so cute. They were $7. After, what, 6 months, they broke apart. I was so pissed off. So, yeah, quality does matter. When it comes to shoes, they say, my aunt says, put money into your shoes. You need to invest in good shoes. And I agree with her, because wearing bad shoes for a long time actually messed up my health. So yeah, definitely look for quality. Quality over the price, but price definitely matters as well. The next thing I did, um, was I started to do my own taxes. And the way that happened was uh, I gave everything to an accountant once, one of those, walk-in store accountants. And I went over my tax return and he made a mistake. And ever since then, I said, okay, you know what? I'm not letting anybody do my taxes anymore. I'm going to do it myself. But unfortunately, not so much unfortunately, but now that I own my own home, I do pay somebody else to do my taxes because it's too complicated. And when you start to own your own business, it's really, really complicated. So it's really better to hire somebody to do your taxes for you. But in addition to hiring somebody to do your taxes, go to the library, pick up a book, and find out what are the tax saving strategies. Because even if you get a very good accountant, they're not always looking out for your best interests, as far as how to save money. They're really just trying to make sure that they keep you out of jail and keep keep you from getting flagged by the IRS, not for fraud, but for from being audited. So anyway, learn the tax saving strategies, because you might be leaving money on the table and not know it. Okay. And then next, after I was able to accumulate a lot of money, because the investments, that's basically what they do. They help you grow your money quickly. And when you implement the tax saving strategy and everything else, of course, But at that time, I had enough money. I purchased myself a multifamily. The reason why I got a multifamily instead of a single is because, first of all, I didn't really know that there were so many different ways that you could make money off of a single, but you can actually make way more money off of a multi than a single family. And I also said to myself, you know what, if the economy ever gets bad and I lose my job, I want to be able to still have a roof over my head. So that's another reason why I bought a multifamily as opposed to buying a single. Okay. Now, after some years went by, I decided that, you know what, I think I would like to buy more property. So I joined a real estate mastermind group. Then eventually I went and I bought property. I lost a lot of money during that time. So again, after living well for a while, I was going back to living paycheck to paycheck. And it was quite embarrassing. So what I did was, I still had my job now, so I was still getting income. I was also still getting income from the tenants above, but then there were certain things in the house, the house that I live in, that needed to get fixed. So that's why I was back to living paycheck to paycheck. And I didn't really understand too much how it is because I started cutting back again. Because a lot of times when you get comfortable, you start spending a little bit more money because you decide that you want to treat yourself. You work hard, so you start buying things for yourself. You start getting your nails done. You start getting massages and going on vacations and things like that. Well, I cut back on that after losing so much money on my real estate investment. Then I looked at my bank account and I'm like, wait a minute, how come my money is not growing? You know, I was like, whoa, something's wrong here. So I took a chance and I found a man on YouTube who later created a Facebook group. It was a financial mastermind group called um, Club Millie. That group is no longer. He now has another group called Club Billy, where he's not doing so much investments, but he's doing more entrepreneurship, more selling products, that kind of thing. But Club Millie really did help me out. It helped fine tune my investment skills because what Susie Orman does, and many of the books that you get in the library, most of them are very basic introduction to investing. But what he had was way more advanced. Um, and it wasn't really even just him, just the people in the group. Two of the people actually are on WFNY radio. That's where we met. So I would say relearning and improving my knowledge on how to manage money, particularly this century, because again, now we have the internet. I didn't have the internet when I first started. And just being able to use the tools of the internet to invest wisely is what helped me get back on my feet so that I don't live paycheck to paycheck anymore. So, my friends, hopefully that my life experience that I just shared with you will help you make smart financial moves. Feel free to pass this along. Remember, each one, reach one, teach one. Bye for now. Until next time, have a good night.